My psycho dad tried to unalive me. Now he won't pay child support unless I talk nice to him. Here's what happened. Subscribe to Am I the Jerk on YouTube and hit the bell for notifications. So for some background info, I'm in my early 20s and my brother is 16. Our parents got divorced in 2014 after many years of physical and emotional mistreatment. For example, he used to get physical with me, he locked me up for hours on end, I still can't be in closed rooms or elevators, and he threatened to end us multiple times. My brother and I are both in therapy and doing a lot better now, but since he still lives at home, I moved out 5 years ago, he still has to see our father from time to time, since they live in the same city in Germany. I've been diagnosed with CPTSD, depression, and panic disorder. I've been having severe anxiety for years, and my brother has depression as well, which got really bad for about 2 years. My father still continues to send us mail and letters to my brother. He doesn't know where I live, so he can't send me letters. I've blocked him everywhere, but his mail still gets in my spam folder. He wants to get in contact with us even though we don't want to. He used to threaten me that he won't pay child support for me or my brother if we don't talk to him. I had to take 2 jobs on top of studying full-time just to support myself. My mother didn't really care. My mother decided to press charges against my father last year. Yes, last year. Not when it happened, not shortly after, last year. We don't get along well, but this isn't about her. Now my father decided to threaten my mother's new boyfriend because he wanted him out of the house which my father and my mother purchased together. So my mother got it in her head that she could win the case against my father, because my brother and I are both in therapy and our grandma could be a witness to the abuse. Well, in a nutshell, she almost got laughed out of the courtroom. The judge sided with my father because she didn't have any proof after all those years, and my father won the case. Now he's decided he wants to get custody of my brother and continues to threaten me via email. I'm so done with this sorry excuse of a human being, but thanks to my mother, I'll have to see him in court soon, and I'm so stressed out about it. Update, and it's not a happy one, but here goes. The case didn't even make it to court again. Since my mother decided to bring this up a decade after it happened, the case got dropped due to being outdated. My lawyer informed me about 2 weeks ago, and I got a document stating that since it's been too long and we don't have enough evidence, they won't bring it to court, which I suspected all along. That's why I was so mad at my mother for waiting so long. So basically they also said that even though his behavior was malevolent and threatening and he still seems vicious, they don't see a bigger plan in his behavior. What the heck? Do you really need a bigger plan for it to be criminal? So he got to physically mistreat us for years and won't have to face consequences. Thanks to my mother who didn't listen to me 10 years ago when I told her about it and begged her to do something about it. Anything. Delightful. Also, my brother still lives at home. Our father didn't get custody. I'd like to start off by saying that I'm sorry you have to deal with a person like this, let alone that they're your father. I can't imagine what it was like having to grow up with him or the trauma that you've had to live with as a result. It's just really unfortunate that your mother didn't do what she could have at the time when all this was happening. Unfortunately, if you're coming at this years later with no proof, then yeah, there's nothing the courts can do. All I can say is at least you guys are out of that situation and aren't having to deal with him anymore. Sure, he can send emails and stuff, and you can keep them in a little folder and try and report that to the police if he's really harassing you. But at least things are better than they were. And as you get older and older, you have more and more control over your own life. And that shadow looming over you, over time starts to weigh a little less. They say time heals all things, and it is true to an extent. I understand that there's some stuff that you're never going to forget happened, but the important thing is to keep moving forward. You can submit your own stories to be featured here on the channel. The story submission link is in the description below. And if you want to listen to some vibey music in the background, check out easymode, also linked below. And don't forget to subscribe. I screwed up and possibly gave my whole family botulism. I'm vegan. My husband is not. For New Year's Eve, we ordered a giant box of Mediterranean food that was mostly vegan with a few non-vegan sauces for the husband. Last night, I was looking to use up the last of the non-vegan garlic sauce. Since it's only a few days old, I figured it had to be fine and mixed it into my husband's portion of spaghetti. As hubby takes his plate to the TV to eat, I hear him in the other room, going, "Oh God! Oh God!" I think, man, he really likes it. Until he marches back into the kitchen announcing that it was bad, off, no good. It tastes like chemicals. I take a bite off his plate because that's what people do when something's bad. The militant vegans will probably be here soon to tell me that this single action probably took out a big section of the Amazon and killed the last forest fairy. But anyway, I still think it's fine. But except for these stolen bites, I've been vegan for a long time, so maybe I can't tell anymore. We dump his plate, throw out the rest of the sauce, and feed him off of my portion of dinner, and resolve to have ice cream later to make up for it. Except something's nagging me. After I finish my dinner, I go back to the garbage can and pull the sauce out. It's kinda bubbly. I can see jellies and vegetables sometimes and start freaking out. Oh my God, I just ate botulism. I call out for my husband. My vision is graying. I'm having a panic attack. We live in an urban area. Hospitals are at capacity with COVID, and I just gave us botulism. Husband tells me to calm down as I'm taking off my sweater and pants to get maximum airflow on this rolling ball of overheating anxiety. Botulism doesn't taste bad, he says. I challenge him to show me where an authority says that something that tastes bad can't coexist with botulism. I decide while he's doing that, I'm gonna return to the arms of my teenage fling with bulimia. After I'm done horking up enough mangled spaghetti and bread to convince myself that the cursed stolen spoonful of botulism must have come out too, I clean up and rejoin my husband. He says, "Show me this sauce." So we go to the fridge, in which I've wrapped up the remaining sauce in order for the CDC to test it for botulism when I'm in the hospital with paralyzed vocal cords. My husband examines it, prods it, and suddenly sticks his finger in it to taste it before I can stop him. Huh, that tastes good. Something else must have tasted funny. You'll be fine. Husband comes in for a kiss. I stop him from all that. Not only am I fresh from a 10-minute fling with the toilet, but he's somehow got stuff all over his wild man COVID beard. It looks like clear butter. Husband stops in his tracks. Oh my God, I ate the hand sanitizer. What? You see, he had to go physically to work today, which fortunately is rare, and while continuously sanitizing his hands, was somehow also managing to sanitize his beard, with globs and globs of hand sanitizer. Now, my husband is not a gracious eater. Apparently, he combed his fork of spaghetti through the hand sanitizer. The spaghetti was just along for the ride, and yet I feel like crap today. Is my digestion messed up from the animal products in that cursed bite of garlic sauce? Is my system upset at throwing up last night? Like, a lot? Do I have COVID? Do I have botulism? Who knows? Welcome to 2021. Spin the wheel and claim your prize. If my account goes unusually quiet, assume I'm paralyzed from botulism after all, I guess. My husband may just have to go on through this cruel world eating hand sanitizer without me. Yeah, definitely not the most graceful moment from your husband. You go to eat something and you're not thinking about the hand sanitizer you used hours ago, and you taste it and think something must be wrong with the food. I do think our original poster may have overreacted just a little bit. I mean, it was stressful times, but come on, just calm down. Let's figure this out. They really just went from 0 to 100. Husband must be aware that this is how our original poster functions, because he seemed to handle her pretty well. My boyfriend broke my $3,500 model ship and now refuses to pay for it. I'm a 33-year-old female. My dad passed away and left me one of his last and favorite model ships. I had it on display in my living room, but for some reason I never actually mentioned it to my boyfriend of 6 months, male 37. Maybe because we don't live together and he doesn't visit often. The other day, he and his friends came over to my place to celebrate his birthday. They got drunk and started throwing the sofa pillows at each other. I told them to stop, then went into the kitchen to start to clean up. I then heard a loud noise. I walked out of the kitchen and saw my model ship in my boyfriend's hands. I rushed to get it, but he passed it on to his friend, and then his friend passed it on to the other friend. I started running around trying to catch it while yelling at them to stop. Then my boyfriend grabbed it again. I was so angry I told him to hand it over, but he said I needed to kiss him first. I yelled at him and he tried to throw it to his friend who tried to catch it but missed, and it hit the wall and broke. I lost it, kicked all of his friends out, then had a fight with him telling him how this was a sentimental item from my dad, and demanded that he pay me $3,500 because that's how much it costs. He left, then called in the morning asking if I was serious about wanting him to pay $3,500, and I said I was dead serious. He started making excuses, saying he was drunk, and that I never told him about this ship and how important it was for me both monetarily and sentimentally. So that's on me. We had another fight, and then I hung up on him telling him I'm expecting the $3,500, and that I wasn't afraid to take the legal route if I have to. He kept texting asking me to let it go, and saying it was cruel of me to threaten him with the law. He had his friends apologize thinking this would be it, but I insisted that he pay me. I get that I might have gotten worked up over an item and treated my boyfriend badly, but to me, it seemed like recklessness on his part. Am I the jerk? Your boyfriend sounds more like a 13-year-old than a 37-year-old. This is like basic schoolyard bullying. Clearly, you didn't want them throwing that around. And given the price of it, I assume that it probably looked expensive and they should have guessed they shouldn't be throwing it around. Sounds like your boyfriend and all of his friends are just a bunch of jerks. I don't know. We are looking at the entire relationship through this one event, so maybe it's not as bad as we're making it out to be. But still, if he's a good boyfriend, he'll make this right. I decided to teach a guy a lesson by giving him a little bit of his own medicine. In a nutshell, I was seeing a guy who I randomly met through a friend. He's asked me on multiple dates, and I've straightforwardly told him that I'm not looking for just a hookup, to which he assured me that his intentions were different, that he felt like this could go somewhere. Fast forward a month of us going on dates, talking, and him being a perfect gentleman, and we sleep together. And 2 days later I get hit with I've realized that I'm not ready for anything serious right now, and I want to be transparent with you, so let's keep it casual. How convenient. So I've decided not to be an adult and play his game. I pretended to be confused, but then said that it's better for both of us anyway. He immediately called me and started asking why, to which I responded, well, I realized I don't want anything serious with you, which made him go insane. It's been a week, and he's calling me every day wanting to spend time with me, trying to make me want him apparently. One thing that changed is now he's getting the full-on random hookup option treatment. Obviously. I talked to him like he's a sneaky link and nothing more. Told him that he should respect the boundaries we've agreed on and give me time and space to see other people. We're definitely not sleeping together. Not worth it. Yikes. I don't know why guys feel the need to play games like this. Why are you lying to her? Why are you investing all this time and being nice and everything just to be a jerk a month later? Wouldn't you rather invest that time and effort into someone that you actually want to be around, not just hop into bed with and then get out? I just don't understand. You'd think if you're a guy looking for an easy thing, you'd go looking for the easy thing, not someone who's gonna make you work for it and then just screw them over later. If that's what you want, just be honest about it. There's someone else out there who wants that too, and then you're not going to be wasting people like our original posters' time. Let them go invest their time and effort into someone who's actually going to give them a return on that investment. I accidentally obliterated my wife's fish. This happened last night. My wife's 8-year-old very large goldfish was passing away, had dropsy and was suffering, and was on the verge of death. Wife and I looked into the symptoms and there was practically no hope of him making a recovery, so she asked me to take care of him. Looking into methods, it seemed pretty agreed upon that the most effective and quick way to take care of a fish was blunt force trauma. Now, when I was a kid, my family were huge anglers, and I was the designated fish killer when it was time to cook them. Back then, I was told to slam them on the ground as hard as I could. Well, my 8-year-old body wasn't strong enough to kill them instantaneously, so I had to do it multiple times. Honestly, it kinda messed me up a little. Flash forward to last night. I didn't want that happening again, and I wanted it to be painless. I asked my wife to leave the room because she was very upset, and I chose to do the deed by putting the fish in a plastic grocery bag and slamming it on the counter as hard as I possibly could. The poor fish was absolutely obliterated. The force ripped open the bag and sprayed bits of what used to be a goldfish in every direction. I told my wife to stay upstairs, and she started getting suspicious. So she comes down after 5 minutes and it's just everywhere. On the counter, on the stove, on the fridge, on the freaking Christmas tree we still have up. I was still finding pieces of it this morning. My wife was aghast and traumatized. She cried until she went to bed. Am I the jerk? Yeesh, you're not 8 years old anymore, my friend. You're quite a bit stronger than you once were. That fish isn't gonna hold up pretty well to you slamming it with all your might. I feel like this could have been foreseen if you just stopped to think about it a little bit. While your intentions were good, you definitely screwed up and definitely messed up your wife. I'm sure she knows you didn't mean it, but I can guarantee she's not happy with you right now. Jerk calls a tow truck on me but ends up losing his car instead. I was visiting my mother with my car, picking her up to go to a restaurant. At her residence, I had trouble finding a parking spot, so I parked my car near an entryway. Parked is in quotes because I kept the car running and stayed behind the wheel, texting my mom to come out because I'm waiting for her, in case I have to move the car to let someone else pass. While I was waiting for my mom, another resident pulled up in his car and went into the entryway. I had to move the car a bit to let him in. The dude exited his car and came up to me red-faced.
What do you think you're doing? You can't park here, that's illegal.
That's why the car's running and I'm sitting inside. I'm not parked.
Like heck you are. I'm calling the tow service and you better not move.
And then went into his home. So I complied. I was ticked, but I stayed. Technically, I could have just left, driving carefully around him. He never wrote down my license plate and I didn't violate any rules. But he said not to move, so I didn't. When my mom came down, I explained the situation to her, and she agreed with me that I haven't broken any laws. A few minutes later, the tow truck came. I stepped out, with a bit of a scowl on my face, ready to clear up the misunderstanding. But instead, the tower took the initiative with a smile.
I see what's going on. You got blocked in. Let me fix that for you.
And he towed the other guy's car. In the end, the angry dude had to pay to get his car back, as well as pay for the towing, since he called the tow service. And I got a nice meal at a restaurant and a funny story to tell. Yeah, I mean, technically our original poster isn't doing anything wrong. There's really no point in calling the tow truck on him. The guy's not in the most ideal spot, but at least he's trying to be considerate and not just leave the car there and move out of the way if need be. I understand pulling up to that and maybe kind of being like, come on, jerk, what the heck are you doing? But hey, we're all the main character of our own stories. Our original poster had a reason that they wanted to be there for just a couple minutes. Sounds like this was the only person they inconvenienced. But apparently that was one too many. But it didn't quite go down how the jerk wanted it to go, did it? Maybe he should have actually stuck around to talk to the tow truck driver when he showed up. Entitled kids aren't happy with the free Pokemon cards I give them. I run a gaming store, and one of the things our store does is give out free Pokemon cards. And let me tell you, when it comes to retail customers and free, you get the choosiest beggars. First of all, I want to clarify this is voluntary. The cards are not provided from our company. They're donated by the community. I've had mothers scream at me for not letting their kids take more than one, leave bad reviews because we didn't have the Pokemon cards they wanted. These free cards were all commons. The one that floored me recently were these kids. I gave them the free cards and they looked at me and said, "We want a free booster pack instead." It's moments like these that I just want to give up on giving them away anymore. That really sucks. Honestly, our original poster's trying to do something nice for the kids and customers that come through his store. In a world where everything is done digitally, this is a nice little thing that makes it a little bit more personal and makes the kids happy to just get a Pokemon card. It's 100% free. You have nothing to complain about. It was this or nothing. So why are you going to complain about what you got? If you don't want it, you don't have to take it. But don't sit there and insult the person who's just trying to do something nice. It's because of jerks like them in the world that the nice guys like our original poster don't want to be nice guys anymore. There's no reward in it. Not that they're doing it for a reward, but they don't want to be treated like crap in the process of trying to be nice to you. When you subscribe, make sure to hit the bell to turn on notifications. Put the playlist on in the background to finish listening to all the stories. Or if you want to listen to some vibey music in the background, check out easymode. If you like Am I the Jerk, give Am I the Genius a shot. Everything linked in the description.